Paul McCartney, and we'll hear from him again later on. With only 3 weeks left until Christmas, it's not only the high street stores that are looking forward to their busiest period. This time of year also sees a dramatic increase in the numbers of illegal street traders selling a variety of highly dubious products to the unsuspecting Christmas shopper. John Stoneborough has been taking a look at one racket which is not only ripping off the consumer, but costing the record industry £20 million a year nationwide.
In this series of For What It's Worth, we've investigated rip-offs from up and down the country. We've been to Birmingham, Sheffield, Nottingham and Glasgow, just to name a few. But one of the biggest rackets operates right here outside our offices in the heart of London. Every evening at 5 o'clock, a man turns up over there by that bus stop with a suitcase, from which he sells cassette tapes to passers-by for £2 a time. That might sound like jolly good value, but what sort of tape are you getting for your money, and where do they come from?
Well, it's just as I was going home one night from work, I saw a man selling fairly cheap tapes for £2 a go, and I picked up two that I liked, got them home, tried them out, and one was blank on one side, and the other was running at a very quick speed.
How do you feel about it?
Well, annoyed. They were fairly cheap, but I'd still expect something that played decently, even though it's cheaper than the normal price.
£2 only your tapes. Any album, any type.
It's now 5 o'clock and our friend has just arrived. He's set up with his suitcase full of tapes by the bus stop and he seems to be doing a roaring trade. That's his eagle-eyed minder standing nearby, watching out for the law, of course. So we decided to buy some tapes for ourselves.
Pick where you like to.
Can I have Elton John and, what's that, Culture Club? Yeah, I'll take that.
Thank you very much. One change.
How much are they?
£2 each, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Great.
£2 each, any one you like.
A few minutes later, I returned to ask him about the tapes I'd bought. Yes, excuse me, can I talk to you a sec? My name's John Stoneborough from Thames Television. I've just bought these two tapes. Are they counterfeit tapes?
I suppose they are, yeah.
Where'd you get them from?
We get them off of a bloke, mate.
What's his name?
I don't know his name, he don't tell me.
And how much are you paying for them?
180.
180?
Yeah.
Pull the other one. You know, of course, that it's an offence what you're doing.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've never had any problems, so, you know, possibly. It may well be. I've never had any convictions or anything, so that's all I'm interested in.
But some of the people who we've been talking to who bought tapes off you tell us that the tapes either very badly recorded and in one case,
I wouldn't agree with that,
it was completely
actually.
blank. Well, it seems that he's completely untroubled by the fact that what he's doing is against the law, and nothing seems to be able to stop him. Certainly, the presence of a television reporter hasn't. So I've come here to Regent Street to the British Phonographic Industry, the trade association of the record business, with the two tapes that I bought yesterday, to let the experts have a listen and hear what they think.
Well, it's obviously a counterfeit. Funny enough, as counterfeits go, when you listen to it in isolation, it isn't as bad as many, but when you actually compare it with the original, well, frankly, it doesn't compare. In the last 3 years, we've had an enormous amount of audio counterfeiting of currently popular titles. We estimated that approximately 5 million counterfeit cassettes have been made over a period of 12 months, which is a lot of production, a street value of approximately £10 million, and it would account, I think, for about 12.5% of the legitimate cassette market.
Who's really harmed by this?
Well, I think the first thing is that they are duping the public. That tape may have sounded reasonable, but most of them don't, and I think a lot of, particularly children who are having tapes bought for them at Christmas, are going to be very disappointed when they actually get them home and listen to them.
The musicians also feel strongly about professional counterfeiting.
I suppose when you're talking about just ordinary people, it's very difficult, because I don't think I could tell one of my kids not to tape something, even though we sort of know it's illegal. So on that level, I don't mind it myself, although, you know, probably in the industry, I'm sure people do mind that. It's probably the big thing. But, yeah, big professional rip-offs is terrible. That's criminal. I think that should definitely be stopped, because, you know, that doesn't do anyone any good except the criminal.
At the BPI, their technical experts know how to spot counterfeit tapes. I asked Derek Varnels how it's done.
Well, the first thing I always look at is the labelling on the side of the cassette itself. In this particular case, it's a simple black and white label. An original, which I have here, has got a beige-coloured label.
Derek, I believe you set up a demonstration counterfeiting factory over there. Just show me how it works.
Yes, I've got two machines set up here. Very simple operation. Original goes into that slot, then put blank tapes into these three on this machine, plus a further machine which has 4 slots, like that. And with one button, 7 record at once. And they go at 8 times the speed, both sides at once. And these pair of machines could do about 85 copies an hour.
And how much does it cost to produce a fake like that?
I would estimate the cost about 45 to 50 pence.
So who do you think produced our tape?
Well, there are several teams making them, and they do make their counterfeits fairly similar to each other, but on a close examination of this tape, I believe it to come from a team I call Luke.
We've been doing some digging and we've found that there is indeed a man called Luke involved in the business. He's called Luke Scarborough and he lives here at 31 Woodstock Road in East London. One of our researchers gave him a call pretending that he wanted to buy some cheap tapes.
Good. Yep. Fine.
After several phone calls, Luke Scarborough agreed to supply our researcher with 400 tapes at 25 pence each. Our researcher met him in a cafe near King's Cross Station and handed over £50, that's half the money, as a down payment on the 400 tapes he was buying. He took the money away with him. Our researchers arranged to meet Scarborough 2 days later in the same cafe to hand over the rest of the money in return for the tapes.
How you doing?
Not too bad. Sorry, I couldn't get any other ones. I've got them.
Right, you got them.
Yeah, but
Right.
50 there.
Right. What you want to do?
You want to come in?
Yeah, might as well. Can you help us carry one of the boxes back?
Yeah,
okay. You stay with your age and I'll just sort it out. Right. You've got the money, haven't you?
Yeah.
Right. Where are you parked?
So they left to collect the boxes of tapes and returned a few minutes later. I arrived at the same time. Mr. Scarborough, hello. I'm John Stoneborough from Thames Television. I was wondering if I could talk to you about these tapes that you've got here. Now, we believe that they're counterfeit tapes, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm going to excite you, mate.
Are they counterfeit tapes?
I don't know nothing about it, mate.
I was wondering, can you tell us where you got them from?
No, mate.
Why won't you talk about it? Well, there he goes, Luke Scarborough, a vital link in the counterfeiting chain. Obviously, he's not too keen to talk to us, but he's rushed off with the tapes and with our £50. He's admitted to being a counterfeiter, and we know Luke Scarborough also sells counterfeit tapes. We'll be passing on this information to the British phonographic industry.
John Stoneborough reporting there. As we said in the film, we've passed our evidence on to the British phonographic